I'm Myke Shrews,
And I'm Tivis,
and you're listening to
the Munster Cast.
episode 63. Welcome back, everybody, to the MUNSTERCAST, the podcast where we watch and talk about the Munsters. I'm, of course, your host, Myke Shrews, here with my co-host and friend, Tivis. Tivis, please, my man, tell the people in the Munster verse. How are you doing?
Be better if it warmed up out of here.
What is your temperature right now?
Right now,
Yeah.
as we're recording, it is 51, the warmest it's been in days.
Whew. Yeah, it's about it's a chilly 73 here right now. Okay, anyways, guys, real quick, let's do some dirty work. You can find the MUNSTERCAST on all social media platforms. That is Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all via the MUNSTERCAST. You can also see our pretty ugly faces every Munster Monday via YouTube at youtube.com/@TheMunsterCast.
Or my slideshow this week.
Yeah, Tivis is very laggy on the video, so hopefully the audio is not lagging on you guys. You can also go to TheMunsterCast.com and check out all of our video, audio, and blog content there. Over there, guys, there's also going to be a microphone on the right-hand side of your screen, hopefully. And you can click that and leave us a little voice message, all that fun stuff over there, Munster related and anything. Let us know at the very end or at the very beginning of the message whether or not you would like it to be shared on air or not. That way I can clip that and just put it in the podcast for you guys. There is also a little donation coffee cup, I think it is, on the left-hand side of the screen on that same website at themunstercast.com, where you can just give us a little tip. It's literally a little tip jar. You can also go to themunstercast.com/merch and pick up an awesome Munsters cast, a MUNSTERCAST t-shirt or Munsters related t-shirts, as not all of them have our logos on them because I didn't want to bore everyone with just merch, like logo merch. So we created some Munsters themed shirts just for you guys, the Munster fans out there. So go ahead, check that out, and every purchase does definitely help the show out. It keeps our lights on. As you can see in my background, there's not many lights on right now. Oh no. You can also go over and email us at themunstercast@outlook.com, and there you can just email us anything Munsters related, your Munster stories, your Munsters fanfic, anything you want to tell us about the Munsters. If you want to come on to the MUNSTERCAST show, as we had Scott on, I believe it was last week, you can definitely do that and come on and talk with us about the Munsters and your love for the Munsters and all that fun stuff. Lastly, Tivis, what else can they do?
They can go to patreon.com/themunstercast, where, much like the tip jar on the website, you can leave us a nice little tip. But if you join Lester's next big swindle or whatever the fuck it's called,
Next big investment,
you can gain access to our Discord, where you can watch the episodes a week in advance from when we talk about them.
Awesome.
There will not be an episode this week because Myke has a little surprise for everyone next week.
Yep.
Oh, but from there, we will go on to McMunster in 2 weeks. So, yes. You can do that. But more importantly than any of that is tell a friend, leave a review on your podcatcher of choice, leave us feedback on any of our socials on YouTube. All of that helps us show way more.
Give us more stars than there's what on my shirt, if you can see my shirt from the video. You guys also definitely don't forget about Monster Bash is in June, June 16th through the 18th there. You can find tickets and find all the information you need to by going to the munstercast.com slash Monster Bash 2023. And then that'll take you directly to their page that we just made a little pretty link for you guys there. I think it is just called creepyclassics.com, and you can go there and navigate to the Monster Bash page as well. So definitely check that out. And if you're in the area, especially or remotely around and want to check out some of those cool guys that are gonna be there and stuff, so definitely do that. All right, I think that's all we got today. Is that it, Tivis?
That's it. What are we talking about today, Myke?
Today we are talking about the Munsters today. Computer matting or mating? Mating.
Mating.
I
We've been
keep
over this.
yeah. Matting is with two
You
T's.
watched the episode.
I know. Computer mating aired February 4th, 1989. So we are in February, man. So do you think this was like I mean, it says mating in the title. Do you think this was like their Valentine's episode since it's 10 days before Valentine's Day?
I mean, yeah, more than likely. Oh, might get a little more stuttery here. I went to go look at my spreadsheet and I forgot I closed the program. So, yeah, that might
Okay.
pop up here in a second.
No,
But,
you're good. You're good.
yeah, there might. I'm not sure when McMunster aired off the top of my head, but yeah, it honestly, if that one aired closer to Valentine's Day, I feel like this one would probably be the one they meant for it. Yeah,
Right.
because Myke Munster to me sounds like fast food. So
It does. All right. So I guess real quick then we just have the synopsis and then Tivis can dive on into his stuff here. All right. Today on Computer Matting, the Munsters Today. Grandpa gets a new girlfriend after feeling lonely, but after finding out his girlfriend has a secret, Herman and Lily worry for Grandpa. Tune in to find out what chaos will ensue. There you go.
yeah, that's pretty good. So yeah, this is season 1, episode 13. We are over the halfway point now, Myke.
Yeah, we are. I hope
80
everyone's still enjoying it because I'm still enjoying it.
Oh, this is a blast. Episode 83 of the entire Monsters franchise.
Hold on. I just want to let you know, McMunsters did air like 3 days before Valentine's Day, so that kind of
Okay.
sucks.
I'm still, there's a chance that could still be a Valentine's Day episode, but I'm willing to put money down at this one.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, my wife and I celebrated our first Valentine's Day at Arby's, so... yeah, this was written by Hope Juber, who I hope I'm pronouncing that right. We recently saw Hope with a Little Russian Dressing. And this was also written by Kim Mortensen. Now, this is her first and only episode. And her only other credit was before this, season 3, episode 19 of a show called Safe at Home. So I'm not sure why she got out of writing, or if there are more, and IMDb just sucks because we've clearly seen that.
IMDb does suck for like if it's not like a big production thing. We've found out that
for being supposedly the entertainment database of the world, it's got a lot of holes. This one was directed by Lee Lockhead. This is his second of 9. The last one we saw was Professor Grandpa, which I had a great time with. So, we only had one guest, and that is Nanette Fabre as Dottie.
Yep.
Now, she has had a long career. Her first role was at 4 years old, playing a dancer in Baby Be Good, where she went by the stage name Ruby Burnett in 1925. She then became baby Nanette instead of Ruby where she was in 3 movies from 27 to 28 until she took a little break from acting. Came back in 1939, once again changing her stage name to Nanette Febers, which is closer to her real name, for 3 more films before taking another little break. She came back again in 1949, where she started doing TV under Nanette Febre, her name. She was part of the Caesar's Hour, which was a sketch comedy show that lasted from 54 to 57. She was in 47 episodes of that for the first, 54 to 56, and she got 2 awards over that time. She did so much as herself. It's insane. She has 121 credits for appearing as herself versus her 52 for acting. So, yeah, she's a well-known person throughout this time.
Yeah.
She played Nan McGovern in Westinghouse Playhouse for 26 episodes, where she played a stepmother to 2 unruly children. She was the White Queen in the 1966 TV movie Alice Through the Looking Glass, which I had to mention because my wife loves Alice stuff. She was Grandma Catherine Romano in 46 episodes of One Day at a Time from 79 to 84. She unfortunately passed away just 5 years ago in 2018 at the age of 97. Long life.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
During her career, she got 6 awards and 2 nominations under her belt. She got Primetime Emmy for Best Comedian in 1956 and Best Actress in a Supporting Role, both of which for Caesar's Hour, as I mentioned previously. In 1957, she won Primetime Emmy for Best Continuing Performance by a Comedian in a Series for Caesar's Hour. And in 1960, she won Star on the Walk of Fame for television and a Golden Apple Award for Most Cooperative Actress alongside Janet Leigh. And then in 73 and 74, she was nominated by the Photo Awards for a Golden Medal and Variety Star, but didn't win. And in 1987, she was awarded the Life Achievement Award by the Screen Actors Guild. So, yeah, decorated career, long career.
Oh yeah.
And I gotta say, it shows. She is so talented in this.
I was just checking out too, like the soundtrack stuff that she did. As
Sorry for the noise. I'm moving my mic.
You're good. The soundtrack work that she had done too, because when she sung in movies and shows and stuff, it's actually her doing it. I know that's like, people are like, well, duh, but there's a lot of actors that actually don't do that.
If you saw the newest Beauty and the Beast with what's her name, Emma Watson, they dubbed over her singing, so it's common to do that.
Yeah. Yep.
Should we jump into this?
So we shall.
Or do you see any more on her list of accolades?
I had seen her. I knew I had seen her in something else before, just because.
There's no doubt.
So I'm assuming it's one of these because there's so much shit that's on her thing that I'm like, God, I've seen this. I've seen The Love Boat. I've seen Murder, She Wrote, The Golden Palace, like all these. Coach. Like I used to watch Coach back in the day.
Like I said, between her appearing as herself in a lot of stuff and then her acting, she's got almost 200 different roles.
Yeah.
Or things she's appeared in. Not even listing the what was it? I think it's some of these shows she's appeared as multiple characters.
The last thing she was in, it looks like, was the Broadway Beyond the Golden Age as herself. What is that? Oh, it's a sequel to the original Golden. Okay. All right. Anyways.
Before we do jump into it though, I have to say normally I can type in the episode titles into Google and it'll just take me to the IMDb page. I typed in computer mating. Can you guess what the first option is?
I don't want to know.
Computer mating service on Wikipedia. It's the freaking Star Wars fandom.
Wow. Is that like a oh God.
It's an in-canon service for finding dates. And then under that, it's a government thing about something about getting cattle mating. So
yeah.
So I thought that was just an interesting little tidbit. Since I haven't had a whole lot of trivia lately.
Cool.
All right. So jump in.
Yeah. When you said Star Wars, I was kind of going with, oh no, is it about Lando?
Yeah, you'd think so.
All right, so let's dive in here. Where's my notes at?
So
there they are.
We open with go ahead.
Oh, go on.
Eddie's filing his fangs, and Grandpa's bringing popcorn to the couch end table. Lily comes in saying that they're off to their old couples bridge tournament, and I thought that was going to be a card game. No,
it's
building a bridge.
Yep.
And for audio listeners, I'm holding the first place bridge my wife made in high school that I have kept despite her wanting to throw away because I'm a hoarder.
What did she make that for?
It was physics. They had to build a bridge, and whoever got the most weight, and hers was like one of the few that didn't break entirely.
I'm glad I didn't have that one. I would have tried to make like this immaculate, like really cool design that would not work in the real world, but would it would work for the model. But yeah.
Anyway. Oh, she had her physics teacher had an interesting. Her name was Mrs. McPhail, and like my wife loved her, and we joked like as a parting gift because it was like her senior year. We like maybe we should get her a stamp. So that any student that gets an F, she could just stamp McPhail.
That's awesome.
But we didn't end up doing that. But yeah.
So is she like the reverse of like Feeney from Boy Meets World? She's just fail.
No, it's by the sound. Of course, we went to different high schools, but by the sound of it, she was a very nice lady.
Gotcha. All right. So.
So they're off to a bridge tournament.
Bridge tournament.
She then calls for Herman and asks if he's ready, and he comes out holding one of those bridges that I just showed off. Eddie is impressed by the bridge, by the way. Lily asks Grandpa, since he's going to be home anyway, if he can, do something around the house. And he's, look, what makes you think I'm going to be home? And Herman's like, you have been home, or you haven't gone out on a Saturday since the San Francisco earthquake.
Which isn't this like the second or third time they've shown the bridge thing? Because wasn't Herman building a bridge in another episode?
I don't recall.
Or was that like the Great Wall? Maybe that was the Great Wall.
He was building a diorama for a school, remember?
Yeah, I just don't remember if it was a bridge or the wall.
I think it was the Great Wall.
Okay.
Because Grandpa talked about how long it's going to take you forever to finish it or something like that.
Right.
So you haven't left the house in weeks. Eddie's like,
he's there every Saturday is what they say. You never go out anywhere on Saturday.
Yeah, Eddie's like, you never go out on dates. And Grandpa gets so indignant over this. Well, I could if I wanted to.
Like, in fact, screw you, dude.
I've courted some very distinguished women in my time. And Eddie's like, yeah, who? Amelia Earhart.
That's why she went missing. Oh my God. No,
yeah, that's Grandpa. What I thought
too. Oh, Grandpa.
Yeah, Herman's just like, whatever, just bring in the trash.
Yeah.
And Grandpa's like, I always do.
There's
every Saturday for the last 50 years.
Which confused me because it says tonight's trash night. Make sure to bring it in.
Yeah.
But I'm like, who the hell has trash night on Saturday night? Because that means pickup would be Sunday. I've never seen pickup on a Sunday morning.
Oh, there's some in our area. We have pickup like every day of the week. They have us broken down by area. Ours is Friday.
Well, I know that they like switch it every day, certain areas and stuff, but I never knew that there was pickup on Sundays.
Oh yeah, they have pickup all day of the week.
That's weird.
Yeah. But I have contention with this because he says he's been doing it every day for the last 50 years. No, you haven't. You've been asleep
for 20 of those years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how long have those bins been out there?
Maybe he means it as in the last 50 of these.
years they've been awake.
Right.
I kind of feel like pickup has changed, but maybe not.
Yeah.
Well, Lily begins giving him the list of emergency numbers, and he's like, "No, yes, blood bank, coroner's office, taxidermy, and Vinny's takeout. I got it." So they begin. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, as they're walking out, Marilyn runs down the stairs like giddy. And they're just like look at each other and like, Dustin.
Yeah, and just leave because they don't want anything to do with this. Yeah, she runs over to Grandpa. He's like, "Oh, Justin said the cutest thing just now on the phone." He's like, "I'll see you in homeroom tomorrow." Isn't that romantic?
Which do colleges have homerooms?
Yes.
Okay. It's been so long since I was in college.
It varies. We called it not homeroom. I almost want to call it the study room, but it was like mandatory for certain classes. You had to. They alternated every other week. 1 week was a normal class, and the other week was to do your friggin' homework because it took you forever.
Right.
Where you would have a teacher's aide there if you needed help, and it was mandatory to show up.
In college?
Yeah. If a teacher is an asshole, he'll ruin
I guess
your
it just
week.
depends on your college. I assume it depends.
Well, it depends on the professor.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, there was my wife had an asshole for an accountant professor. He scheduled a pop quiz on Halloween, not a pop quiz, a normal quiz on Halloween, and everyone in there like, I need to take my kid out because their class was at like 5 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
It's like, I need to take my kid out trick-or-treating. He's like, well, if you don't show up, that's an automatic F.
I ended up taking my kid to several of my classes in college. I was like, fuck this. Like, because it was a later class in the day and daycares were closed at that time. I was like, just bring him with me.
Dude, she hated that guy. She ended up taking he's another one who took mandatory attendance, but she figured it out that since she got like A's on everything, she could just not show up and pass with an A.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, it's been almost 10 years since I was in the college classroom, so I don't remember a whole lot of college. Like how it's set up, and I'm sure it's changed by now too, so yeah. All right.
Eddie goes to
she's all giddy. Eddie goes
he stabs himself with his file.
Yeah, because he's making fun of Marilyn.
Yeah. Marilyn asks Grandpa for some advice. She moves Stanley off the couch. She goes, "Grandpa, you're a man, right?" Well, when I'm not a bat, yes. I'm like, well, does that make you a female bat then? What?
Well, I mean, a bat is not a man. A bat could be a female bat or a male bat, but not a man.
Yeah, that's fair.
Man and woman are human.
I wrote this note very early in the morning, so yeah. This is good enough for Marilyn. She's like, all right. So they're coming up on the 3rd anniversary of their second date a week from tomorrow. Oh my God. Kill me now. What can she get Dustin?
Did you guys ever do shit like that?
No, because it's stupid.
Like, we're gonna celebrate our first date like every month. People do that shit. They're like, oh, it's our 1 month anniversary for the first time we did this. I'm like,
I mean, I remember the milestones. Like yesterday was the 15th anniversary of when we first talked to each other.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if I told you this, but she was friends with someone who was dating my friend. So I called his phone one day and she stole his phone and answered. And that's how we met.
Okay.
So that's just ingrained in my memory. I can't forget it.
Y'all went to different schools too, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
My buddy went to the same school as her.
Me and my wife were friends for years before we even started dating. So we know everything about shit we shouldn't, normal dating people most likely wouldn't have known. So
Yeah.
it kind of knocked a lot of that stuff out. So we didn't have to worry about a lot of that shit.
Yeah. It's in the past. Don't talk about it.
So we met each other. We became friends when we were like 15, and we started dating when we were 21. I want to say, yeah. So
Yeah. It took us from April to August to start dating. So
okay. Yeah, I always tell her, I was like, dude, we've known each other for more than half of our lives by now. So
we're 3 years away from being exactly half my life. So yeah, that's crazy to think about.
Right. Especially when we tell people like how long we've been married, and they think that we're like younger than we are too, and they're like, you haven't been married that long, or they're like so shocked and surprised because I guess like it's a thing for younger people just to not be married and or split up within so many years or some shit, I guess. But
oh yeah, I've been getting the so now when I tell people we've been married almost 10 years, coming up on it in a couple years now, they're like, Jesus, when did you guys get married? It's like this is the same reaction I got in high school when I told them we've been dating for a year and a half, because high school relationships never last more than a couple of months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really? I mean, my kid's been dating the same girl, and I mean, he's not in high school yet, but they've been dating for almost 2 years now, dude.
Oh, that's cool. Hopefully, it lasts.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I know
I
some
hope
people
so.
are like,
I hope
I know there's some people out there who are like, you need to play the field before it. You don't need to. There's no reason to. If you find something that makes you happy,
well, see, that's also I feel that's this is going down the whole thing, but this is a love episode, I feel.
Yeah.
But I think that's the thing too, is like, some people need to do that. I get that. But also there was a reason why it was set up a long time ago where you didn't do that stuff, because when you introduce the idea of 100 partners within that realm, it kind of starts to bring in either an ego boost or insecurities and all these other things and questions, and well, you used to do this, do you ever do this, things like that, and are we going to the same place that you took this person? And it becomes an issue, I feel, sometimes within in dating realm. Like, yeah.
See, I don't have that issue. I only have one ex, and we didn't do anything. We just sat on her porch every day.
Like I said, me and my wife knew each other's exes pretty much. So,
well, what's funny is that friend is an ex of hers. So
yeah.
But they were only together for a week, so it shouldn't count.
All right. So Marilyn walks out of the room, and the phone rings.
Well, first let's get Grandpa's advice for what gift to get Dustin. Because this is a really special day. And Grandpa's like, well, get him something practical, like a 5-pound box of slugs. Eddie's like, tooth sharpener. She calls them weird and then leaves. And that's when the phone rings, and it's Erica for Eddie. A subplot we're going to know nothing about until the end from now.
Absolutely nothing.
So, this episode, Eddie goes on his own adventure in the background. But unlike the episode with Grandpa, where we see him wandering around in the background, we don't see Eddie again until the end of the episode.
Okay. That episode where Grandpa, that was Al Lewis, Grandpa. When he was wandering around, I recently rewatched it again.
Yeah.
and I was just like, it looks like Grandpa's just like freaking senile in this episode, because he's just randomly doing weird shit in the background. He's not really involved with any of the other characters, and everyone's just ignoring him. They're like, oh, crazy Grandpa, basically.
Yeah, he is plotting something in that, totally.
Oh, yeah.
So
I also rewatched Corporate Munsters for Munsters Today. I rewatched that recently as well.
That was a good one.
And and then I re-listened to our conversation on it. I totally still agree with what I said on that episode.
Mhm.
Our conversation is a lot more entertaining than that episode. It was a
Yeah,
lot more fun, I should say. Not entertaining, but
that's
more
probably what I'm
fun.
remembering more. But
Yeah. All right.
I'll
Anyways,
say this: there hasn't been one that I would call bad from Munsters Today. There's just been some that I find more
a
enjoyable
little
than others.
weaker and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Um. So yeah, she
Erica's
calls him
called.
weirdly. Erica calls. Oh, yeah, she wants to talk to Eddie, and she says no, she loves me. And Grandpa's
Yeah.
like, all right, well, I'll tell her you're out being wormed. Is that like the reverse of deworming?
I guess. I'm not sure.
So Eddie's like, no, don't do that. Don't ruin my, high school life.
Yeah.
He's like, just tell her I'll call her back. And Grandpa's
Yeah.
like, all right, I'll call you back. Hang up. And then he begins teasing her, or teasing him, I should say. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Eddie's like, well, hey, look, Grandpa, how do you know if you're in love? And Grandpa's like, well, the skies seem cloudier, the frogs croak louder, and everybody looks a little bit sicker. And Eddie goes off to have a think about this.
Yeah. And then Grandpa goes over and like dumps a thing of popcorn into
Stanley's cage.
Stanley's cage. And the rat that's in there too is just like he kind of like looks at it, but then he's just like, should I even mess with this? Like, because it's a real rat. I'm like,
yeah, it barks in response, and I can never tell if Stanley is reacting kindly or aggressively to Grandpa based on his reactions to Stanley. It's like,
well, I mean, Spot does the same thing.
Yeah, but people don't react to him like, what'd you say to me? Like the face Grandpa makes every time Stanley barks, it's like he just swore at him.
Stanley's barks are like, I am Groot.
Yeah.
Just it depends on the tone.
That or he forgets every time that he made Stanley able to bark like a dog. Which I wouldn't put past Grandpa. So
right.
So then
Grandpa,
he turns.
Oh, go on.
You go with it.
I was gonna say, then he goes over and turns on the TV, which we get to see the bunny ears again. They're being more prominent as we see more of the TV
they like
all the
activate and fold out.
Yeah, every time. And then it's like this like infomercial thing about well, I'm sure you have more detailed note on it, so you do that one. If
Not
you have
really.
exactly, you didn't write down exactly what they said or anything like that?
No, I just said that,
Okay.
He responds to it and it responds to him because
Yeah.
it predicted everything a sad soul would say.
Right. So it basically is like, are you lonely right now? And all that
Are
stuff.
you home every Saturday?
Grandpa's answering, and then he's like, well, what's the number? And then they're like, and here's the number to call.
Yeah. He's like, you're good, lady.
Which it's interesting too, because so it's for a video dating site thing is what they're promoting on the ad.
Mm-hmm.
Is what it is. And for people who don't know what video dating is, it's when you used to, and I'm sure they still do somewhat of the same thing too with some of the other apps and stuff out there. Like I have a paragraph of stuff I wrote down for this because I found it interesting. So like, or video dating anyways in general is basically you record a video of yourself talking about yourself, which is a very egotistical thing to do, but you're trying to pitch yourself. Basically you're doing a elevator pitch on yourself for another person to find you and like you and all that stuff. Essentially Grandpa does call it a video dating service, but essentially it's a cool thing to see because the fundamentals, like the structure of it, of modern dating apps, like you have like I don't even know what some of the dating apps are, like Christian Singles, Tinder, Swindler. I don't
Plenty
even know.
of fish.
I don't know what any of the dating apps are. Is Tinder one of them? Is that what they call it?
Yeah,
Is it?
yeah.
Okay.
There's also Grinder, which
Grinder's
is for
not
guys.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's more for that's. I heard Grinder's just for hookups though, but I think Tinder is
pretty
too,
much
basically.
all of these are. Yeah.
Anyways, I don't know. Like I said, I've never had to worry about any of that stuff.
Anyone who hasn't used this stuff, I haven't either, but I know people who have Tinder and Grindr and all those like quick swipe apps are kind of like speed dating in the digital age.
I find them fucked up because it's literally you're judging someone by their looks.
Yeah, I mean that's speed dating.
It is speed dating, kind of.
Yeah,
Except you're not hearing someone talk. You're literally half the time they don't even read the bios; they just look at the photo.
I mean, people who go to speed dating, do you really think they hear what the person talks?
I never did speed dating here. I kind of want to do speed dating just to like experience it,
Well,
but
you're
not
gonna
to
have to
actually
ask your
do it.
wife.
Right. That's the thing. I'm like, but like, because I've watched impractical jokers do it before. And even like Joe on there was married at the time, and he would do it and stuff. Maybe that's why he's not married anymore. I don't know. But I always found it kind of interesting because you're just meeting new people. I'm like, that'd be kind of a cool way to. Why don't they do that for like people in their 30s and 40s to find new friends too? You know,
Believe it or not, they do at some conventions. It's like,
do they?
yeah, speed friending or something like that. Yeah.
That's dope. Where's the app for that? Well, I guess they do. They have like Meetup or something, but that's generally for like groups to meet up and like do conversations of like movies or whatever genre of thing that you want to talk about. Anyways,
Yeah.
basically video dating is the fundamental structure of modern dating apps that were first perfected in like the 70s, I believe it was. Video dating offered a way for people to sift through potential dates remotely. It was the first truly intimate example of the browsing people like you get with Tinder and stuff like that model of dating that we know of today. So the swipe right, swipe left mentality so many people have, basically. It's like, oh, here's this tape. Nope. 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 I wish I had more to say on this, but I really don't know any of the online dating things except for I know some people who have met their spouses online dating and they actually are married and stuff, which is
Yeah,
awesome
they
because
do
they
sometimes work.
work.
Yeah.
They do work. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
where I hear everything from is from those people. I have no firsthand experience. So if I said something fucked up on the issue, please me know. If you guys use speed dating
Let
or
me
online
know.
dating and stuff, let us know, because like I said, I have no idea except for what I hear from friends, which they're not going to tell you everything, of course, and then movies, which just basically make a blatant joke of it, I feel. You know.
Yeah, they're
But
look,
Grinder, I've heard lots of shit about Grinder from a lot of my gay friends. So,
well, they're a promiscuous bunch of people. So
yeah, yeah. So I've heard lots of horror stories on there too, which I feel bad for some of my friends that have used that one and had some of the issues they have. Anyways,
yeah.
that's
So
basically what video dating is. So if you are watching or did watch the episode and you haven't heard of video dating, that's essentially what it is to modern day times. So
yeah.
all right.
If you're Mike's children, you know they have no idea what that's. I know you have taught them. Okay, Ivy. There's my wife.
All right. So then we just go as soon as Grandpa calls, basically.
Yeah. Well, we get a
sorry.
transition now where Lily's lighting candles. Grandpa's bringing up a camera from the basement.
Yeah.
And Lily calls him a genius for doing this. He says it's so easy. Just make a tape yourself, and then they send you tapes of women who share your interests.
Yeah.
Poor Grandpa. He really wants someone. Like, yeah. This episode maybe like it's kind of similar to because around this time I started connecting the dots that it is the one where the classic episode where he got the Black Widow starts dating him.
Yes. Yeah. I was starting to feel a little bit like that too.
And well, I'll talk more on that once we finish the episode, but it's the second time because of these two episodes where I'm like, man, he just really wants someone, a partner.
Well, it's his own fault. He's killed all of his ex-wives.
we don't know that for sure.
He's referenced it a lot. All right. So
At least some of them. Yeah.
so then we get Grandpa. He sits down. He does his eyesight and everything like that.
Herman has this great line here where he's like, "We
Yeah.
used to just use the village torchmaker." And Herman's like, "You mean matchmaker?" He's like, "No,
Oh,
not
yeah,
in my village."
that's another one. Matchmaker.com, right? Is that another
Yeah.
one?
I'm like, is that how him and Lily met? Was the villagers chasing him and he ran into her, or
Maybe he ran into their castle on accident.
yeah.
Oh,
So
that would be a good one.
yeah, yeah. Grandpa asked Lily to run the camera and Herman throws a fit. So Grandpa's like, fine, you do it. The room is too dark. Grandpa tells him to he's like, I can't see anything. We'll take the cover off.
And he's like, "You're really dark, Grandpa. We'll take the lens cover off."
Yeah. Which is the thing that I don't think do they still have lens cover? Well, they probably do for big cameras, but
Well,
not really.
the camera I literally used for this has a lens cap. What are you
See, I
talking
have a
about?
shutter on mine.
Well, I mean, I'm using an actual camera,
Yeah, well, that's well, your quality's better than mine, but
but I mean, I think even the ones that like people mount to
I
their
mean,
phones and shit have covers
yeah,
on them
you
too.
you are the one who is more in that world, so you would know more than me. I haven't seen because even
All of
like
my
some of the
lenses
little
have
ones.
all of my lenses have lens caps. Let's just say that. Like
Yeah,
every lens
because
that I own over here, yeah.
the old VHS, recorder my dad had a cover to it, but the little
Yeah.
handheld digital recorder has a shutter. So I just
Yeah, the some of those like the older like camcorders and stuff, they're just shutters. They just close it there. But yeah, as far as like your main cameras and stuff like that, lenses, the VCR, the VHS recorders stuff, I have some of those. I have a Betamax one too. Um, if what's that's a whole nother thing. If people don't know what Betamax is, I'm sorry.
yeah,
Uh,
we're not going down that road. We've already spent 44 minutes and we're still in the first half of the
we,
show.
we we spent half an hour on love stuff.
Yeah. So yeah,
Anyways,
we start
yeah. So
filming. Oh, go ahead.
oh, and then he takes the lens cap off, and we see nothing as he looks down the barrel of the camera.
Yeah, he's like lining it up. Why are we even doing this?
Yeah, and he's like, "We can't even see you," and he's like, "Well, I thought that would be better."
Yeah, it'll add to the mystery of my appearance.
Which essentially then is like a dating show almost, like the when
Yeah,
you had
yeah.
the three bachelors or whatever it was.
It
Which do they do those shows anymore?
yes, they do. Yeah, those still exist.
The worst ones are the Bachelor and Bachelorette because they're just sleeping with everybody, and it's
Oh,
just
yeah, those
horrible.
shows are still going strong.
Those are teaching some bad morals to some of our youth that watch that show. Sorry, I'm just gonna say
Well, I mean,
that.
that's just reality TV in general, which, by the way,
Yeah,
I know this is coming out late, but rest in peace, Jerry Springer, the father of trash
yeah,
TV, self-admitted, so I'm not saying anything bad about him that he hasn't said himself.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
so, yeah,
I
can I
grew up
just
on
say
Jerry Springer. Sorry, I'm gonna bring it up just
oh,
because you
no, go
brought it
ahead.
up real quick.
I'm
The
older than Jerry Springer shows.
the news came on about Jerry Springer stuff like a day after he had passed and stuff. So I already knew about it and it was coming on. And they were showing some clips from the Springer show. My kid saw it and he was like, "What the?" And I was like, "Yeah, I grew up on that shit."
Oh yeah, I was too young to remember when he was tried to make it just a regular daytime TV show before it went
Yeah,
off the rails because that's all I remember.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, so
Which they it was awesome because they would pay the people the crazier they got, they would pay them more. So it's
oh yeah,
awesome.
no. For those who didn't know, they hired actors sometimes to make stuff up and sometimes to retell,
A
basically
story,
act
yeah,
out stories they got.
yeah.
Uh, but some of them were real.
Some were
Not all of
real,
them though.
definitely. And then the people that were real felt like they had to step it up a notch.
Mhm.
So there were stories like if you ever watch the Jerry Springer movie, they
Yeah, and his
reenact a lot
bodyguard
of
got a
it right
spinoff
there.
show.
Steve, yeah.
Yeah.
But
We
yeah,
are way off topic again.
rest in peace, Jerry Springer,
Yes,
man.
rest in peace. So can I say I have an issue with this scene we were about to get where Herman's filming this?
Okay.
Because we start with the camera moving all over the damn place, and then you cut away and Herman's just standing there. and then he picks it up and starts moving forward. The camera's shaking all over the place before Herman starts moving.
Maybe when he was when he first turned it on and realized Grandma was not able to be photographed, he was looking around. And then when we cut back to him, he's not moving the camera at that point. I do that shit all the time, dude. Like, I'll move my camera around as I'm doing it.
But
and
he
like
took the
5
time to line
seconds
the shot up before they started.
How could he line the shot up before they started if he had the
He
lens
just lined
cap
up
on?
the chair. The chair is there.
He had the lens cap on. He couldn't see shit.
We'll take the lens cap off, and then he's lining it up, and that's when we get the line of, they can't even see you. Why are we doing this?
No, the lens cap is on. He says, it's so dark, so he takes it off, and then he tries to, and when he takes it off, then the camera's moving, and then that's when he looks up and says, "Hey, we can't even. You're not even able to be photographed. Why are we even doing this?"
He adjusted it, and then continues to adjust it after they start recording.
Yeah, why not?
No.
He picks it up.
Yeah, I know he picks it up, but I mean before that, I don't know what Herman's going for an action shot of the chair for.
Oh yeah, because he loosens it, and so it goes down. It does one of these motions, which is kind of cool. I just pulled it up real quick so I could look at it again.
Yeah. So
he's just moving it all around, and I could also be Herman's, fumbly fingers and stuff.
Yeah. Well.
Oh yeah, every time he touches the camera to push a button on another side and stuff, the camera literally shakes. So that could be the jerking that you technically see. Right.
I'll relent, but
cameras are finicky, dude. This is why we have Steadicam units.
But yeah, so after they get done filming and stuff, Herman tells him that we're going to have to install a revolving door for your coffin for the amount of women you're going to get. Grandpa loves this. And Lily is just off screen, non-reactive, but I doubt she's enjoying hearing this about her father. It's gross. Yeah. So now we're going to cut to the three of them in the living room as the doorbell rings. Grandpa answers it, and it's instant love. Mm-hmm. Dottie loved his invisible man tape. Oh, yeah, we're introduced to Dottie here, by the way. I skipped over that. She swears she crossed over a moat on her way in. And I'm like, they extended it to the front yard?
Yeah, they did that before with the mailman. Remember, we said the mail was in the moat?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
A few episodes back, yeah.
So the way that Grandpa shuts the door and changes subjects make me suspicious that either he didn't want the family to know they extended it, but I forgot about the mailman, or that he's ashamed that people can't tell it's a moat.
Maybe.
Yeah.
There's still no moat in there when they do the wide shot.
My theory was he extended the moat to the front yard because he's home every Saturday and bored, but now that kind of dashes that.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, he introduces Dottie to his daughter and son-in-law.
Yeah.
The owl does his whole who thing with Dottie repeating her name, and she's like taking in the house perfectly calm.
Yeah. She's super calm. She's very energetic in this entire thing, which is perfect. The actress does a great job performing this role.
She's so good.
Yeah.
So Grandpa's like, hey, can we be left alone? And Herman asks if he wants them to make them a reservation somewhere. And he's like, go upstairs. So the Raven cat calls Dottie. She's like, oh, that's neat. And she's like, she looks over at the boars. What does he do? Because he smokes and it shoots out dust. Then they open the cabinet and find Eddie listening to what I'm guessing is an early Walkman. Did they have those?
Yeah, Walkmans in the.
I wasn't sure when they, because I'm
by late 80s. Yeah.
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 or like a portable radio, maybe. I don't know when those came
Yeah,
out.
they had probably in the 80, this was 89, so they probably had like the solid like silver one, most likely.
Mm, yeah.
Dude, you've watched Guardians of the Galaxy. It was taken in the 80s and had a Walkman. Come on.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, he was taken in the early 80s too. All right. That's fair.
Tivis.
That's fair. No, that's totally fair. Uh
But I have a Walkman from the 80s still, yeah.
yeah, so she mentions how she loves kids and she's like, "Well, you could come over and visit anytime." And he's like, "Great. And I'll see you at dinner time." Wink. And then closes the door.
He says something about her neck, dude.
Does he?
Like
I missed that.
he's
But
like, I like the way that because she says something about how she likes something, and he's like, oh
well,
yeah, I like
Grandpa
the way
says
that
something
your
about her neck
blood.
earlier or later.
Yeah. Is it later? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, because like Eddie's just being a little a-hole here, right?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, we'll see you at dinner. Wink. Yeah. So she asks, what door is next to the plant, which I
Uh-huh.
guess we've seen this hallway in the little Russian dressing.
Uh-huh.
And I thought it was upstairs, but no, that's just the little hallway between the living room and the kitchen that I didn't realize was there.
Yeah.
Um, and he's like, "Oh, that's the kitchen." She asks what the things crawling around the floor are, and he's like, "Lunch. Want a bite?" And she, "No, I'm good, thank you." And so yeah, she just wants to know everything about Grandpa. He's like, "Well, not much to tell.
Mm,
Sorry about that. Excuse me.
good.
A 400-year-old count from Transylvania, and she has the most beautiful necklines he's ever seen. She calls him romantic, and that he will just really get under her skin. And Grandpa really loves this idea, and I'm like, oh, he's thinking of turning her. Yeah, so now we get a transition to the lab where Grandpa and Dottie are exploring, and Grandpa's telling Dottie that he's had more fun with her. Oh, it's a time jump, actually.
Yeah.
He's had more fun with her in the last week than he has had in the last 187 years. And he's making some kind of potion.
Mm-hmm.
Leonard reaches his hand out to Dottie's back and scares her, which, by the way, when I texted you what is Leonard's name, this was what it was for. I forgot his name.
Gotcha.
I can't see the wires on his arm either, so I'm doing a really good job with hiding those in this lab.
Right. Well, it's nice
Dottie,
because his background is black, so it's a lot easier to as well.
yeah. Dottie asks what's the most fun thing they did, and he's like skydiving. Uh, like just
It,
thinking about skydiving, I have a severe height issue, and it just makes my palms go clammy just thinking about it. Ugh.
so when you come visit, we're gonna go skydiving.
I can watch you. She can't figure out how he landed without a parachute, and he's like, "What can I say? I'm a natural born flyer." Like Dottie
Yeah.
has to be catching on to Grandpa by now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And then
Dottie's
go on.
go ahead.
Go.
I'll continue the scene.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So she's wandering around reading the ball jars from a few episodes ago. Continuity, and comments about how Lucille Ball looks taller on TV.
Yeah.
This woman genuinely seems into Grandpa, like at this point, and I really hope this
Very.
doesn't, end in heartbreak by the end of the episode. Grandpa's holding a smoking beaker and tells her he made her something special. It's perfume. He
Mm-hmm.
puts it on. Leonard, who has no nose, I might add, hates it. The feathers on her outfit wilt,
Yeah.
and she claims to love it. And at this point, I'm switching my entire thinking. I think it's a scam again. And he's like, I call it canal number 5.
Yeah. In reference to Chanel number
Chanel.
5. Yeah. I thought that was a nice one.
Yeah.
And then we go from there straight up to we got cut. It looks like a commercial cut, probably. To upstairs where we get Spot's tail again.
Yeah, I'm so happy to see this. Yeah, Herman's shooing him out to go get the paper.
Yeah.
And for some reason, Herman just follows with him, and he comes back in holding a newspaper that's got embers on it. He's like, good boy, Spot. So Lily tells him to get Grandpa before his food clots.
Yeah, and all he does is stomps on the freaking the basement or the lab door.
No answer. He's not.
Is there another
again.
way to get into the lab, or is it just that one door?
I think it's just that one door.
Grandpa should make an escape hatch somehow. Well, no, because they have. So, what do the doors on the outside of the house go to then? The cellar doors that we see.
I don't think I've ever noticed the cellar doors.
They've shown them in like an outside clip.
Did they? Oh, I
Yeah,
missed
in
those.
this
That's a good
show,
question.
not in this episode, but in this show, like those have
I'll
to
have
go
to keep
down
an
to
eye
the
out for those
basement.
again. That's a good question. They probably go to the lab.
Yeah.
So
Herman keeps hitting the door, and no one's coming upstairs. And he's not even really saying. He's just knocking on it, like boom, 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 boom.
He's not home again. Yeah. This is the fifth. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go on.
Oh, this is the fifth time this week he stayed out late.
Yeah. And then in bursts Grandpa and Dottie.
Well, Herman gets this line. I wrote it down because I thought it was great. He's like, he's no spring vulture anymore. That looks like, or he goes, well, at least he isn't at any wild parties. And then cue. Sorry, I hit the mic.
Grandpa and Dottie bust on in, and they're dancing and kicking, and it looks like they just came from a New Year's party.
Mm-hmm.
She's in like this. She's in like this shiny, like glittery purple dress, and Grandpa has on like a top hat,
flashy hat.
Yeah,
Which was
flashy
nice.
one. Yeah.
They talk about the wild party Herman and Lily missed. All the women swooned at Grandpa's bicuspids.
Oh yeah,
Lily,
yeah.
Lily's like, look, why are you staying out to the dead of dawn? Grandpa's like, I'm 400 years old. I know how to live a little.
I do what I want.
Yeah. If there's one thing I know, Herman tells him he hasn't seen him this happy since he found out O positive didn't upset his stomach. It's just a good joke. So Lily asked out.
Go on.
She's like, "Are you going to stay for dinner?" And something like she's holding the lid of a pot, and something jumps out of the pot. God, they're always eating live things.
I told you that's how Grandpa gets his blood source. I told you the other day when we were talking about this.
You told me in the future.
Did I say that?
Listeners won't hear that until next week.
Oh, I didn't know I said that on there.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. Surprise.
Yeah, we're recording out of order because Myke is going out of country.
We'll talk about it at the end of the show. All right,
you'll hear about it again next week.
Grandpa then walks away, and then this is where Dottie she ends up talking in between Herman and Lily.
She sends Grandpa off. She wants to mingle with the family, and that's so great. Like, you want people who want to be with your family in your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether you want to be there or not. So Dottie, she's like, she starts talking to Lily, and she starts saying all the wrong things. He really reminds me of my 7th husband, but he kisses more like my 12th. And Lily's like, hold on, wait now. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, Lily, mind your business.
Yeah.
They're old. They've had past partners.
It's funny. She's like, well, what happened to them? And she's like, well, they all just and died. And then when she brings up the fact that she's had at least 12 husbands, Herman's like, well, here's my business card.
we have group rates. Herman is the most business savvy person in this episode than in any previous one.
Corporate Munsters got to him, man. He's a corporate man now.
Who's it in this one? Goodberry would be proud.
Yeah.
So yeah. Lily's like, well, what happened to them? And it's like, oh, they just killed over on the dance floor. And then Grandpa comes up from the basement dancing already and says he's dying to go out. So they head out, and Lily's like, oh no.
Lily's freaking out, and Herman's just like dancing his heart out as they walk
he's
away.
Doing the samba, and Lily just is on the verge of tears. I'm telling he's not that perceptive.
Or he just doesn't care.
I don't know about that. He's a very caring person. He's just not perceptive.
Grandpa tortures him all the time.
And he still cares about Grandpa for some reason.
Maybe. All right. Yeah. And then we cut to another shot with Herman and Lily. Herman is eating something.
Yeah, he's having a late night snack. And she's like, hey, look, that's going to give you heartburn. And then one of the best practical effect jokes in the show, in my opinion, happened.
Yeah. They do this really cool, like, steam comes out of his chest pocket area, which
it also comes up through his neck because they can't control that.
Yeah.
And he's just like, worth it. And I gotta say, I suffer from severe heartburn when I eat late at night, and I wake up and I like cough and have a sore throat. And yeah, it is. I once coughed for 4 months straight because of heartburn. Like,
oh geez. Well, how late are you eating though?
Well, at that time, I went to sleep at midnight and probably had a burrito at 11.
Yeah. My wife found out about second dinner recently.
Oh no. That was your most cherished secret.
We were talking about something, and I was like, oh yeah. And then I had second dinner around like midnight last night, and then she's like, second dinner? What's that? And I was like, oh, that's the dinner I eat when I stay up late and y'all go to bed and I'm watching TV. She just looks at me and she's like, you're such a fat ass.
He's such a nerd with your Lord of the Rings reference too.
Oh, like, what is that, second breakfast or whatever it was?
Something like that.
That the hobbits want. See, I've only watched Lord of the Rings once all the way through.
That shocks me. I thought you really enjoyed those.
I recently did it within the last couple years, dude. I'd never seen Lord of the Rings.
I'm thinking of Mosier.
Yeah.
Mosier's a big Lord of the Rings fan.
Both a couple of the people that we know together are big Lord of the Rings fans, but I was never like one of those guys. And spoiler, sorry, this might piss some people off, but I thought the Hobbit trilogy was better.
I mean, I'll make them even more mad. I didn't care for any of it, so
Harry Potter's better though.
I mean, yeah.
Twilight is better. Can I say no?
Absolutely not. I draw the line there.
No, Harry Potter, I think, was the better of the book series franchises that were super popular at that time, for me.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's another franchise I didn't watch that until it was completely done.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I mean, I read the books, so I was already.
I have not read the books. I've heard they're a lot better though.
Yeah, look. All right, we are getting off topic once again, but you're leaving town, and I'm not going to be able to talk to you.
It's our show.
So, the Harry Potter, like out of all of the novel to movie adaptations, I honestly believe Harry Potter is the most faithful. There are still things that are cut out and had to be altered because of that. But I mean, look at Jurassic Park. That's like a completely different story. Aragon, same thing. Lord of the Rings, they changed some stuff for that while still adhering to the main story. They did change quite a bit.
Yeah, for people who don't know,
love the movies that don't like the books.
for people who don't know too, with Jurassic Park, if you've never read the book, John Hammond is he's a dick in the book. I have read those books, like the Jurassic Park and then
You're
Lost World.
cheering for him to get eaten in that book. Like he wants to sacrifice his grandkids to escape. He is a jerk.
Yeah. All right. So,
but it's a really good book.
Right. So, heartburn.
Yeah. Marilyn comes in exhausted, taking off her shoes. What'd you say?
How do we go from heartburn to Jurassic Park? John Hammond sucks.
Because you talked about second dinner.
I know.
So yeah, this is the great stuff you get with us. Marilyn comes in exhausted, taking off her shoes. She was at a dance competition with Dustin, and they almost won if it wasn't for that meddling grandpa and his dottie.
Which turns out to not be true, anyways.
Well, yeah, it was a competition, which means there were people eliminated. Lily gets concerned about Grandpa on the dance floor with this woman, and Herman makes a here, and they just run out.
Yeah,
like Herman, why?
Yeah.
I don't really understand why they're concerned. Grandpa has above average stamina. Just let them have fun. It's not like she's gonna stake him in a crowd.
Yeah, and it's not like he can have a heart attack, right? Vampires can't have heart attacks.
Yeah.
Or strokes. Well, maybe stroke. Well, no, because
Well,
how would he get blood clot? Tivis?
Don't know.
He can't.
And then we have
blood.
to separate, like in the old show, we know that Grandpa has died multiple times. Can he die again in this? And does it really matter? It might come back.
But does the vampire in the Munster universe, can they just die of old age, or do they have to be staked or burned or sunlight, which sunlight doesn't work? So
because he's a Dracula. Dracula's immune to sun.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. We talked about that. But like, does he have to be staked or burned, or can he just die because his body gives out? Or I guess loss of blood. But even then, Dracula never really died in any iterations I've seen from loss of blood. It was that he just turned into like a mummy almost until he got a drop of blood on him. But also, if Grandpa, don't you think if Grandpa got to that point where he felt so worn down and stuff, his vampiric instincts would kick in automatically and he'd have to eat somebody feasting there? Yeah. I mean, it's a room full of people. You literally just lock the freaking gym door and boom. You got a buffet right there.
I mean, he could also just set the building on fire, depending on how his magic works in this.
Like he doesn't want them roasted. He wants the blood. Grandpa doesn't eat flesh.
No,
he doesn't eat flesh. He eats the blood.
They eat a lot of stuff. So he ate a sword.
Those are snacks. Those are like second and third dinners.
No, that was dinner. That was straight up dinner where he ate a sword. Anyway, so Herman and Lily rush to the front entrance of the building where they're dancing. Yeah. And they run up to this sign where this lady they pass by who's waiting at the entrance sees them and just books it out of there. No word, no exchange between any of them.
I wonder why she just left. I didn't actually put two and two together. I just saw her leave and I was just like, why did she just walk out? Like,
she saw Herman and Lily.
Then Dottie busts out the door, kind of
the sign on the front. Did you remember what the sign said?
Oh yeah, it says dance till you die. Yeah. Or dance till you collapse or something like that.
No, dance until you die. And Lily's like, oh no, I hope he's okay. And yeah, that's when Dottie comes out exhausted. And Lily's like, where is Grandpa? You know, she's not mean to her, but she's like, where's my father? And she's like, oh, he's still inside, but I have some bad news. And Lily gets distraught at this. Look, there's nothing you could have done. And Herman begins crying. That old geezer begins patting Lily's back, crushing her with every blow.
Yeah.
Grandpa then walks out behind them. He's like, who are you calling an old geezer? Lily in pain, I might add. This is fantastic acting by her because she's like, you're okay.
Yeah.
Herman's like, oh, I thought you were dead. And Grandpa goes, no, worse than that. We got second. And he tosses the trophy in the trash.
He does this. He goes, that's how Herman does.
Dottie's like, look, it's my fault. I just can't keep up with him. He just floated through the competition. Grandpa's like, hey, I wore my wingtip shoes.
Yeah, wingtip.
Yeah, Lily, embarrassed by her conclusion, tells Herman, look, Yeah, we should probably leave these lovebirds alone, and then rushes out of the room.
Yep. And then Herman follows behind. He reaches in the
stops,
garbage can, picks
picks
up
up
the
the
trophy.
admires it for a couple seconds,
Yeah.
then tosses it back in, and then walks out.
And I don't know if that was like improv or what.
I thought the same thing.
Because it was just like perfect. It was kind of like another like smack in the face to Grandpa too. It was like, let me see this. Fucking second place. Poof.
I want to see this great trophy you got. All right, it's not as good as it could be.
But why didn't Grandpa eat it?
It wasn't cooked.
Mm.
So Dottie wants to talk to Grandpa. Uh-oh. Oh, yeah, she proposes to him, which is incredibly progressive for the time, I might add.
Very, very for the time. She asks him, she asks, will you marry me?
Which is not that unusual, because we've talked about Married with Children before and all these others. The late 80s and through the late 90s were full of these shows that took chances, did stuff that pushed the envelope, and then for some reason they just got scared in the 2000s and reeled it back in.
Yeah. And now they just push it really hardcore to the point
now
where
they're like going even more than ever, and people are like, no, why are you doing this? You've never done this before. You're ruining us. You never watched TV before.
It's not that they've never done it before. The fact is,
of course,
now
the way some of these people are acting,
the way that they do it now is completely different than what they did in the 80s and 90s. I'll tell you that right now. Especially as someone who's a Star Trek fan, the way that they do it now is completely different.
Well, don't forget, Roddenberry had to be reeled in with some of his ideas. He wanted that show way more progressive. He was pissed at that wedding episode.
Well, they wanted to cancel it just because they didn't want to put in the first interracial kiss, and that's when William Shatner was like, "No, fuck this, we're doing it." And again, I still think he just wanted to make out with her. That's
which I just recently found this that Roddenberry thought not polygamy, but where you have multiple relationships at once. Polyamory was going to be the way of the future. And this is a guy who, grew up in the 50s. So
no. Well, I mean, Roddenberry also grew up in a time where it was very religious too. And he was very anti-religion. Like, and you could see it somewhat in his stories, but then there were other stories where he actually put in good notes of religion too, which was kind of interesting, because it wasn't necessarily his beliefs that he was trying to push on everyone. He was trying to make it so everybody liked something, That's how I felt watching Star Trek. Star Trek is for everybody, I feel, because there's a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and a little bit, there's anti-religion, there is religion, there's anti-socialism, there's not, anti all this. There's all these different ways to look at it and to live and to come together and show. And I think that was one of the most important parts of Star Trek, was it showed all these different cultures and type of people coming together as one and being able to group together. Because even in the Federation, I'm sorry guys, this is totally not Munsters, but even in the Federation,
I got him started on Star Trek. This is what happens when you get a Trekkie involved.
But with the Federation, like
Star Wars for life.
You have like your religious people, you have your people that aren't religious, you have all those different things and different cultures from different planets and all that. It just all comes together and it copes together just so great. And the best thing is, none of them said cultural appropriation like some of the assholes nowadays.
Yeah. Melting pot is a word that
you
has
needed
lost the
it.
time.
You needed it, because see, when you put everything together, it interlocks, and then we all become a great society.
So listeners, let us know what you think. Do you think shows are not doing the progressive correctness as they were in the 80s and 90s? Do you think they're doing it just fine? Do you think Star Wars is better than Star Trek? Let us know. I'm
gonna bleep that one out.
No, you won't. I know you.
But yeah, as like you said, this is very progressive moment here in the Munsters, where they're like, will you marry me? Especially coming from the 60s Munsters, where we were more traditional, more nuclear home style family and everything like that. This one, they're so excuse me, they're starting to open up a little bit more. I mean, even the Munsters in the 60s was progressive too at their time, showing like Lily going to work. She's trying to find a way to do all these jobs and this stuff and that, because at the time people didn't want women to work.
No,
Like,
they seem to have forgotten the 20 years before that, when women were basically running the country while the men were
yeah,
fighting the war.
yeah, they took care of
And
everything.
everything was working extremely smooth, but as soon as the men get back, oh, we can't have women doing this, they'll screw it up.
Yeah,
Yeah, they were the ones building the freaking fighter jets you were flying around in.
it's interesting too to see like, because we have the families nowadays are switched a little bit, some families now anyways, where it's mainly the men that are raising the kids and stuff, and those are the same men that are complaining online that the kids these generations are getting worse and worse. But I'm like, you're kind of the ones raising them now, bro. Like, because your wives are at work and you're at home like raising the kids, so it's like okay. Anyways, yeah,
Yeah, no, that's just a nice
super
little note.
progressive for sure.
Yeah. So yeah. Grandpa seems to not be okay with "till death do us part," and she's like, "Look, we can have our honeymoon. I'm going on safari for 6 months in Africa. You know, we could see the baboons." He sweet talks her a bit, but doesn't answer. And she's like, "Well, can I take this as your way of saying I do?" I don't. You know, there's a million reasons why I can't. And Daddy's like, "Well, can you give me the top three at least?" He's like, "Well, I don't want to leave Stanley." She's like, "Well, bring him along. I would miss my son-in-law Herman, but you know me better than that." Uh, the real reason is I'm just not ready for that type of commitment. And Dottie is extremely sad about them being done. And Grandpa's like, "No, we don't have to be. Go enjoy yourself on your safari. And when you get back, come and see me." And she's so happy to hear this. "I'll
Oh
bring you a
yeah,
shrunken head." And I'm like, this lady gets him so well. And he
yeah.
expresses that by saying that she's the best. And she's like, "Look, if you reconsider, I'm going to leave you a ticket at the counter." He's like, "Don't bother. If I reconsider, I'll fly there myself." And at this point, she has to know who is true, what his nature is. Because she's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Oh, yeah, okay, yeah."
So
Like,
there's
he
a
was.
moment.
Oh, God.
Oh, go on, go on. I was gonna say,
Oh,
when, because I had to answer the phone real quick. I'm sorry, guys. That's why I was quiet.
no, go ahead.
For the audio listeners. So Grandpa, when she had initially said that, and when he said "I don't," and they do the '80s like sad music soundbite, it's like so perfect for the moment. I thought we were gonna real deep
Oh,
for a
the
second.
audio was real good.
Yeah, I really thought we were gonna get like a deep, like, because it was like something you would have heard in like a '80s soap opera almost,
Mm.
for those deep, like heartwarming moments. And I was like, oh, we're gonna get super fucking deep, and then they break it up with a joke, and then they go back to that moment, and I was like, okay, so they're still keeping it Munsters-y, but it was cool to see that moment. It was kind of like when they did Eddie was in the locker room when he was juicing, basically.
The flyweight champion.
Yeah, the lightweight champion. Yeah. So it was cool to see some of those moments, and I hope we get to see more of those like serious moments within the comedy, because the Munsters in the '60s, at least the first season, anyways, had a lot more of those moments too.
I'm extremely sad after this scene because I know for a fact Dottie does not come back into the show, and I feel like that's a missed up.
Right.
I'm gonna sneeze. I apologize.
Achoo. Achoo.
All right. Because the interaction between the two, it's like Grandpa found someone that he could really confide in.
Yeah.
You know, who knows who he is
Maybe we get,
okay with it.
well, maybe we get references. I highly doubt it, but maybe we get references of him mailing her or something like that.
I hope so, because this is like, she would be a great addition to the family.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And not just because of the stellar actress, but the character they wrote here. Like, it's sad knowing that going forward that again she won't be back, but yeah,
Yeah.
is what it is.
Um So, do you think it's odd that Grandpa doesn't bring up the fact that he has a shitload of ex-wives?
I mean, he doesn't know about her past. Only Lily does.
Yeah, but she's like, I thought this was a been a perfect moment when she says, will you marry me? And Grandpa's, he's not ready for that type of commitment. He says that.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, he should have said something about how, I've been down this road before, kind of want to take it slower. Maybe we can work on it that way, things like that.
That would have been a good response too.
Rather than the whole, I'm not ready for that type of commitment, when we know with past things that Grandpa said, at least in the 60s one for sure, that
Yeah.
he was married multiple times.
I mean, we
One, two,
know
and
he had at least one partner. We have
Lily.
Lily and Marilyn's parent.
Yeah. And because, we haven't had a reference to Lester yet. So,
Yeah. And we don't know whether she's honestly, we don't know if Marilyn's related to Herman or Lily at this point. Well, I have to assume Lily because it was only in the 90s movies that she was related to Herman.
Yeah.
And we knew in the past show that it was Lily's sister's child, but we don't know who, how they're related at this point, just that
Right.
she's a niece.
Right. Yeah.
So
it would have been
all right.
interesting to see him bring up something like that instead of just saying I'm not ready for that type of commitment. But it's also a 20-minute block, so I get it.
Yeah. But we get one final scene back at the house with Grandpa, Eddie, and Marilyn sitting on the couch. Grandpa says love stinks. Eddie agrees, and I have to wonder what the heck he's been up to this whole episode with that girl. And Erica apparently dumped him for another boy without fangs. It's okay. I didn't even know they started dating.
Yeah.
So he had his whole adventure during all this, whatever. Marilyn is sad Dustin lost his muffler she got him, which how?
Maybe he
You're
didn't
dating an
install it
idiot.
right. He didn't install it right. Yeah.
He probably set it down and left it somewhere. But Grandpa never wants to see a happy couple again, which sucks because you know what's about to happen. The front door opens, comes in Herman. Hi, honey, I'm home. Lily rushes out, kisses him, and they express their love. The three of them on the couch just go, yuck.
Yeah,
with Herman
and Lily right behind them making out, basically. Yeah. Which, I mean, with Marilyn, she's still in a relationship. The dude just lost the muffler. That's all.
Yeah.
With Grandpa, that's on him.
Yeah.
And with Eddie, like, I don't give a shit because it's like, we didn't even know you were dating anyone. Of course, it was a couple weeks. We do know it had been a couple weeks since the Erica phone call and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Because you had a couple weeks of just them Grandpa and Dottie dating, and then not to mention how long did it take before the tape even got done, before the tape got seen, and all that stuff. So probably about a month or so. This episode probably took place within a whole month.
Yeah.
At least. Yeah. You got any words for this episode, my man? We have.
Yeah.
I want to say to everybody out there who is listening, who still is listening, we enjoy doing the show. We enjoy talking about the Munsters, but we also enjoy doing our little tangents that go off.
Yeah, we do.
So if you don't like that, like I said, just let us know. We'll try and reel some of them in every so often. But it was fun. I thought the conversations that we had, especially about
for the most part.
Yeah. The relationship one especially helped with this episode.
Yeah. My thoughts, kind of, what was it like? What was the other episode that kind of followed a similar previous episode? Was it Flyweight Champion with Eddie getting bullied?
Yeah, I would say so.
All right. Well, I know there was another one that we watched. It's not coming to me right now, but I like how they're kind of using past episodes, like the story from it, and twisting it because this reminded me of the Black Widow, but unlike the Black Widow, who I said at the time would make a good partner for Grandpa.
Yeah.
We get someone who, like a Dottie, who is the exact opposite of the Black Widow, who is looking for companionship and not just a paycheck, insurance payout.
Right. Right.
It was really like, this director who previously did Professor Grandpa.
Uh-huh.
They're doing really good with Grandpa episodes.
Yeah.
And as always, Grandpa has been one of my favorite. It's hard not to like him because every actor has just been stellar.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I really love this one a lot. I thought it had a great message in it. Good heartfelt moments.
Okay, so what do you think the message was
Like, you're never too
for
old to
you?
find love.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was good too that they didn't just show Grandpa rushing into a marriage. So
Yeah.
you don't have to rush into a marriage just because you found love as well. Work
Mhm.
at it, talk through, do all those things, which is really cool too. Especially for the time, because back then it was like you have to get married before you're in your 30s. Oh no. Like you have to have kids and a marriage and a job all before you're 30. I'm like, bro, that's a lot to ask for, so many people, especially with the cost of living and
Oh,
having to be
that's
able
how it
to,
is in a relationship, though.
yeah,
Especially, unfortunately, the women get asked this a lot more than the men do. But
yeah,
when you getting married, when you having kids, it'll happen when it happens. It's none of your business.
right. Yeah. There's a if there's one friend I've had that I just always ask. I'm like, so when are you guys getting married? Because you've been together for like the same amount of time me and my wife have almost. So you
Well,
should just
that's a
get married.
reasonable question, but also you don't ask him every time you see him.
Oh
So
no, 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 no. And he finally is getting married, so
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, yeah.
um yeah. Any more words for it, the show, man?
I think that's all really that I can say. It's really well
Mhm.
written, really good emotional beats, great characterizations. Love Dottie as a character.
Oh
How about
yeah.
you?
Oh man, I enjoyed this episode. It was um as I was going forward and progressing and stuff. One, I just thought the fact that they did video dating in this episode was just hilarious. And then knew it was gonna give us a cool talking point on, because there's so much dating app crap now that's spawned from video dating.
Mhm.
Before video dating too, like I think the only thing they had were like classifieds, like personal classified ads in the newspaper
Yeah.
that people would like, oh, wealthy, whatever, and they'd always put wealthy, looking for this and this, or stuff in the classified ads, which is horrible. um so horrible. But yeah, I thought that was a cool one. I knew it was going to give us a cool talking point on that, because I knew that's a big thing right now, especially in our culture and in the States. I don't know how big the app dating is in other countries at the moment. Um, but I'm sure it's a thing in lots of other places too. But as far as the whole episode, I enjoyed it. I Once we got to the whole part where it was like, oh yeah, my husbands have been dying. I had like 12 dead husbands. I was like, oh, she killing them, is she? Like I was starting to worry it was going to be like the Black Widow situation like we had before.
I kind of feel like they played into that.
Yeah. Yeah. And and I like that. I like that it takes you to that edge, and you're kind of like trying to figure it out, and like, okay, it makes sense, because as she says, she's never found somebody who had the same energy, who can match her energy or have more energy than herself. So that's
Yeah.
kind of cool. It kind of sucks though by the end, because you're like, oh well, you guys aren't going to be together, even though like you're perfect for each other. You have the same energy match. You don't get freaked out by his freaking lab or anything like that. And they were just perfect for each other, man. And if they ever do more Munsters content, I want to see Grandpa Munster get with Dottie.
Yes.
I would like them to bring back the Dottie character and give us a good love story for Grandpa.
I would love for Daniel Roebuck to hit that opportunity too. They bring back the cast from the movie.
Yeah.
Like,
definitely. Because it would be because with Rob Zombies too, right now all we've had is like grumpy Grandpa. But let's see Grandpa in love, you know? Like we rarely see Grandpa actually in love, and we've seen him hurt in everything like that in many ways, not just from not having a spouse, but also like leaving the house and all that other shit. Like he was legit like moving out, and he like played the puppy dog eyes and stuff on Herman to stay back in the house back in the 60s episodes. But yeah, I enjoyed the episode overall. It was a good episode. It had some moments where I was just like, but then I was like, yeah, it's cool because we got a little bit of story from everybody. We didn't do too much on Eddie, but we got the gist of what was going on with him and Marilyn too. So
yeah. So yeah, I think that's our episode.
That's it. Next week, just so you guys know, because I will be out of town for the next 2 weeks. So when this episode comes out, I'm gone already. But next week I will still be out of town. We have an episode coming up. Join us next week for a special edition of the Munster Cast. It's a short one. I believe it's only like 44 minutes long. I believe because we already recorded it, as Tivis said. And yeah, definitely check that episode out. It's interesting. We'll say that it's interesting.
It's interesting.
So tune in next Munster Monday for a short episode, guys, either on your podcast service of choice or on YouTube via YouTube.
There will be a heavy video component, but it is not required.
No. The best part about the video is our facial reactions too.
Mostly mine.
Yeah. But you can
reacting to me.
You can check that out at youtube.com/@TheMunsterCast. Otherwise, just listen on your podcast service of choice, guys. And again, email us wherever you are about any of your Munster stuff, all that, guys.
Let us know what you thought about this episode. What you thought about our discussion. Anything we said. We love hearing all of that. So please do that.
Yeah,
we love it.
and just because if I said something that offended you, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna say it right now. I'm sorry that you got offended.
We are perfectly okay with people disagreeing with our opinions.
Yes. And I mean, why not? That's the whole point of living, is we all have difference of opinion. Mm-hmm. Me and Tivis don't agree on everything.
Star Wars.
Fuck you. Star Trek. There are more hours of Star Trek than Star Wars at the moment.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I know you got the space station behind you, but as close as I had, I can't get it back in there.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much, and I hope you guys enjoy next week's episode. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode and all of our little tangents and stuff like that. Tivis, any final words before we head out, man?
Thank you for joining us on this journey. I believe the week this comes out is Free Comic Book Day. Go to your look up the list. Yep,
comes out this week.
This week? Oh. Well, never mind then. I thought this one was coming out on.
It's Munster Monday, the 1st.
Oh yeah, it is this week. Okay, cool. Yeah. So
yeah,
Free Comic Book Day. If you've never done that, there's a list of them online that you can look up of various stuff that you could pick up for free. You can only get a handful. They're not going to give you all of them, but go to your local business. They have to pay for this. So make sure you buy something while you're there, support them, keep them around. The comic industry is so good, and it's going through a really rough patch the last couple of years. I mean, IDW just got delisted from the stock. So go out there, support these businesses, support these companies, support these artists, writers, just creative people in general. And thank you for joining us again. We look forward to you seeing what we have for you next week.
Yes, guys. Thank you very much. With all that said from Tivis, we will catch you next time as we take another stroll down 1313 Mockingbird Lane.
I want you to learn is it doesn't matter what you look like. You can be tall or short, or fat or thin, or ugly, or handsome, like your father. Or you can be black or yellow or white. It doesn't matter. What does matter is the size of your heart and the strength of your character.